Hey everybody, welcome back to the Graphic Multiverse. I'm your host Paul, joined with Chandler.
Hello.
And Angela.
Hi.
Hey, been a while. Long time no hear. I'm excited to dive in this episode. It's gonna be a great.
It's gonna be very great. I got a lot of feelings and anger. So I think
a lot has happened. A lot has gone down since we last
I think I'm going to connect.
Dystopian.
Yeah.
I'm going to connect with Bruce.
Wayne?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, because this is our Batman review episode.
Exactly. So that's why I'm talking about angst. I'm talking about eyeliner.
Yeah. I like it. I feel like Bucky did it first, though. Or sorry, Winter Soldier.
No, he made it hot.
Touche. Tush. That's what I say. Sure for touche. It's tush. Lots to discuss before we dive into the Batman episode. Sorry, Domino almost ate a cookie. I think first things first, because it's so fresh, that slap so fresh.
The slap heard around the world.
Yeah.
An Oscar night.
If anything, this will be a time capsule. Here we are, March 30th, 2022.
Dated.
Still reeling from Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Yeah.
Oh, what do you got, Chandler? Hot take.
I don't want to get canceled, but I think it was bad for both parties, honestly. We're kind of I think where we're at in terms of society, there is this war against cancel culture, and there's also this war against PC-ness, and it's I don't know, there's there's so many layers. There's the racial aspect, there's the I think a big thing that was a big sentiment was oh my god, what will the white people think, or oh, they'll never let another black person host again. And it's for me, that made me really upset, because it's freaking respectability politics is just an exercise in futility in terms of if that's all it takes for them to not see you as human, they didn't want to see you as human in the first place. So it's why are you gonna do backflips through the fire for that?
Yes,
that's a really good point.
There's this great YouTuber called Nappy Headed Jojoba, and I think she put it really, really great. I'm gonna kind of butcher this, but I'm paraphrasing when she said why care about what white people are thinking.
Right.
If we wrap ourselves up with what white people are thinking, then we're still not free.
Right. That's very true.
Yeah. And so we just kind of got to throw that out the window. It's who cares what white people think?
For real.
Right.
Fuck those guys.
It was a moment of weakness for Will, and, Chris Rock, kind of should not have targeted. But, that's just what comedians do. So
Yeah. It's... I don't know. When I heard about it, I was just I don't know. I didn't know what to think, because I think like you had said, Chandler, it just felt like seeing it 360 degrees, all of the angles, and then also realizing, do I even have a place to comment? As
Twitter
a white viewer.
No.
I mean,
I think what was so crazy about the whole thing is that we realized we as millennials can actually still be shocked.
In the millennium.
And we just didn't. We thought.
In the millennium.
We thought for sure. I was there's nothing that anyone can do at this point that could shock us, because we are so worn down from 9/11, Afghanistan,
economic downturns.
Childhood heroes are slapping people.
Fucking.
I think, because there's
crazy, but we can in fact still be surprised.
I think there's a part of me that's I don't know, the wannabe Buddhist monk in me that's nobody should be slapped, And I also get, seriously, I was I don't know, I was going back and forth Monday, where I was I get you want to defend your wife's honor, I get that. I don't think violence is the answer. I feel bad for other people involved, because I feel like you look at like Wanda Sykes and all of the hosts, and I feel like this event has kind of taken away from all of the preparation and work that they did to get this show set up. So I feel bad for them.
Totally.
I do feel bad for Will Smith, and I do feel bad for Chris Rock, especially with more things coming to light, I guess. I know Chris Rock hasn't really spoken out yet. I know he had a show in Boston last night where he had said, like, I will talk about it. I'm still sorting it through. It'll be funny and it'll be serious. And then you hear, like, I read I forget where I read it. I don't know why I've been obsessed with this. I'm, like, reading all the articles.
Well,
Well, someone close to Chris Rock had said that he wasn't aware that she actually had
alopecia.
Yeah.
He just saw a shaved head and just was like, G.I. Jane 2.
Yeah, and that's why he was
is that
like...
a damage control phrase or
well,
whatever?
I mean, it could be. I mean, I guess if I were to look at it from that narrative, I could maybe understand why being like, dude, it's a G.I. Jane joke. Like,
Yeah.
I could see somebody saying that if they didn't know, but I can also see it as if he did know, but is trying to deflect. Like, dude, I didn't say alopecia. I said G.I. Jane. So, I mean, I don't know.
I think as someone who has like made a career of putting her foot in her mouth, which I've said so many fucked up things like in my life, and I will undoubtedly say more. That's just it is my nature, like the sky is blue, I will die someday. I say stupid shit.
You're gonna live forever. What are you talking about?
And that's just what happens. And, it is in my nature. But I think that it was really interesting and insightful because I got to kind of sit in that discomfort, and that, like, not quite sure where, like, if I was team Will or team Chris or team neither. Like, I didn't know. And I was happy to kind of just exist in that because I understood on a fundamental level, like, Black women have been the butt of the joke for so freaking long, and there is a catharsis when someone punches down on a Black woman, and to have someone stand up and say no and smack him in the face. There is something very cathartic about that, and I respect that, and I understand that, and I get it. That being said, though, like, Will Smith wasn't defending Jada's honor. Will Smith was defending Will Smith. He was defending his masculinity, and considering that, like, in the last couple of years, he has been kind of degraded on social media because of their open marriage and the fact that she was, like, dishonest with an entanglement, quote unquote. Look it up, Google it. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I mean, there was definitely a feeling of he has been feeling emasculated for a while. And he's clearly, and I don't know what's going on in his personal life. Like, I'm just a fucking nobody on the outside looking in. And he's clearly going through some shit. So I think it's very important for us to just channel our compassion, because he's clearly not okay. And he is going through some shit. And that was not the healthy reaction to a healthy individual. But that doesn't justify what he did. And in terms of Chris Rock, like, yeah, like, punching down's not cool, whatever. But I can't help but, like, kind of be in Chris Rock's corner because, he was working. And if you're going to roll up on somebody at their job, they already are, like, there's a handicap on them because they can't fight back because they're at their job. They're working. And it was a cheap shot. And if we can realistically look at this situation, like, take a step back, if it had been anybody else, like, if it had been Ricky Gervais, who has said way worse shit, that wasn't even funny. Like, he has said way worse stuff, but if Will Smith had done that to Ricky Gervais, like, charges would have been pressed. He would, like, have been escorted out.
Blackballed.
Absolutely. Like, there is no question. But because it was, like, kind of a black on black crime, like...
This is permissible.
people were like, okay, you know, whatever, let's give him a standing ovation. You know, like they just, you know, because let's be real, that's what really comes down to. And it's just a very complicated issue. So I invite people to be unnerved by it. I invite people to sit in their confusion of it and to like
meditate on it.
To meditate on it and not quite kind of jump to, because that's the thing, there is no answer to this that is like what was the right way to do this, because everybody's kind of like a little tainted. But I invite you to like kind of sit in that and really reflect on how that makes you feel, because there is the wisdom of the Buddha. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I those are all, I mean, everything that you guys have said is all incredibly valid. I just, I don't know. I just worry sometimes when I don't know, violence is involved. And I'm not trying to be over dramatic or to really kind of, because I know some people were like, Will Smith punched Chris Rock. He didn't punch him. It was a slap. But, you know, in any other circumstance, I mean, that is considered assault.
Yes.
That is an offense, you know. Like, I was thinking, God, if somebody pulled that at, like, a company Christmas party, I'd be afraid to work with that guy.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So...
Well, and also, at the end of the day, we also have to remember that it is the Oscars and nobody cares.
True.
So, we have to remember that.
Do you know, because of that slap, I guess, like, the ratings or, like, the people talking about the Oscars went up 56%.
Oh, yeah. Like,
from last year.
Yeah, I mean...
So, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be a fucking celebrity fight club now.
Well, I mean, seriously. And if we look at it, like, Sean Penn has hit everybody. He has hit everyone. I'm surprised he hasn't hit us yet. Like,
oh,
actually, there's somebody at the door. That might be him.
no.
No, you know what? The other thing too, I feel bad for is other comedians, because I've read on Twitter about other comedians being concerned. Like, shit, is this gonna give license to some asshole?
Comedians are a persecuted minority.
But here's the thing, though, because like, out of all of the heinous shit that comedians have said in just punching down, particularly on like black women, homosexuals, like people who are seriously suffering, out of all of the heinous shit I have heard people joke about and laugh at, like the G.I. Jane thing, I'm just like, okay, we gotta...
This is the hill we're gonna die on?
This is the hill, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this
G.I. Jane.
This is where you draw the line in the sand, really? Like... Yeah.
I feel like we're like in a huge overcorrection phase in our society right now, where we're just kind of like...
Yeah.
But it's a pendulum, you know? Yeah. And I think that people need that. I think that we need to... Because we have... I mean, you understand, too. We're millennials. We grew up in the 90s where, like... this kind of stuff, like, because we really, in the 90s, like, people don't understand, especially Gen Zers.
Excuse me.
People in the 90s, like, adults in the 90s, were genuinely believed they were in, like, a post-racial world. And we're at, like, the height of human civilization. And they...
Yeah, look at Lethal Weapon. We did it. Racism's over.
Racism's over.
Hour, we did it.
Rush Hour. No, this is even before Rush Hour. This is Lethal Weapon when fucking Mel Gibson was hot. You know, like, this is, you know, they honest to God believed that, like, that we were okay. So the homophobia, the sexism was fine because it didn't actually have long-lasting effects. Or so they believed.
Yeah.
Like, so we grew up, like, I mean, the amount of times people dropped, like, the F-bomb, not not fuck, but, like, the other F-bomb.
Rhymes with gadget, kinda.
Yeah, like, people dropped that, like, just off the cuff, like, you'd hear it at church. Like, it was...
It's also, like, the era of, like, South Park, where, like, equal opportunity, like, comedy, you know?
People didn't care. Mm-hmm. And they would eviscerate you. And rape was something that was always on the table to laugh about. Mm-hmm. Because I guess people were monsters. So, I mean, I think that it's important because I think our society needs to experience this like hyper awareness and like not wanting to step on toes, because like that's the thing Gen Z is at this point where I feel like they're kind of becoming like little bullies the way that boomers are. But they're not like but because they have the cloak of like of social justice around them, they think that they're able to just bully the shit out of people and like publicly shame them and all this stuff, and
It's justified.
and they think that it's justified when in actuality they're literally just being playground bullies. And we are kind of in that extreme side to the pendulum, but it's eventually gonna make its way back into the middle. And
it's open season on Gen Z. No, I'm just kidding.
And then, no, I love Gen Z. I love
awesome.
them.
They're
They're
funny.
great. They're fantastic. There was a lot of things we can look at and be like, that's not
nobody's
cool.
perfect,
But they're kids.
always room of improvement.
Yeah.
They're kids. Like, dude, the mistakes I was making at 25, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's all good. They'll balance out.
Yeah.
Everybody
They'll get
does.
older like we all do.
Yeah. They'll stop caring. I just feel bad with the amount that, like, I feel bad for Gen Z because, like, I can't imagine a 21-year-old feeling pressured to get, like, fucking fillers.
Oh, man, you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. Fillers. It's like when people put shit to, like, in their face, like silicone in
Or their
their
lips.
face. Or their lips. to
Wait,
make-
people are doing that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was only for rich people.
Well,
Kim Kardashian
Yeah.
set the trend,
she set the Kardashians set the trend, and now, like, yeah, it's
That's too
really
bad.
sad. It's really sad. Like 19-year-olds feeling like they
Ooh,
need to
no.
get fillers
At
in their
19,
face.
you haven't even peaked yet.
Right?
But I get they want to preserve, right? Isn't that
No,
what it is?
they honestly think that this is something that they need, and they don't realize that like you're gonna age.
We're gonna look like human beings when everyone looks like fucking like your cookie, just like just preserved, wrapped in like plastic wrap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's hard. This I know this podcast got kind of off the rails and talking, but you know what? We're talking about
Listen to
Batman.
the show.
That's real life.
We're real people, keeping it
We're
real.
real people.
Any final final farts? Any final thoughts before we switch to?
I'm good.
Okay, shall we dive into Batman?
Yeah.
Fucking
Sweet.
good.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Was that our news segment?
I mean, that is news. It's new to us.
No.
I mean, I was going to talk about Taylor Hawkins, but I guess it's not really.
It matters to you.
It does.
Well, no,
love
it
you, Paul.
matters. We do love you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm such a big Foo Fighters fan, an unapologetically big Foo Fighters fan. And I was just really, really bummed when I heard about the passing of Taylor Hawkins.
That's very heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, he'd been with that band since like 1997.
Wow.
Like started on their second album, riding high off of being the drummer for Alanis Morissette.
Hell yeah.
Like rain.
So many white women got divorced to that song.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And I didn't realize though, like
Not to that song, but the
other one.
The other one. Yeah. I want you to know. that I'm
Yeah.
yeah, he was the drummer for Alanis Morissette, and I didn't realize how many other side projects he had done until after he died. He drummed for like Miley Cyrus.
Wow.
He had his own side band called Taylor Hawkins and the Coattail Riders, and they were fucking awesome.
Nice.
I remember seeing Taylor Hawkins when he was on tour with the Coattail Riders, and it was just fucking cool because it was like, I forget where we were, but it was small and it was dingy, and I was surprised he was there. I was surprised how close I was to the band. Yeah, it was cool because he would like drum and sing, and it was just kind of like I didn't understand how you could do that. I mean, but then again, I can't even, walk and chew gum. So
I can't play chopsticks on the piano, so that's pretty wowza to me.
Just seeing him do that and sing, I mean, and he's done stuff like, he's formed side bands with like members of like Jane's Addiction, and who is the he was on Ink Master, that musician who was like the host.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, he formed a band with Taylor Hawkins too.
That's funny.
So, but it was just, I'm just super bummed. He was a really cool guy, and I feel like I sound like a psycho when I said like I saw him 6 times, but I did. But he put on a good show, And of course, I was young. That was when I was excited about going to shows. Now the thought of going to a show is like I'd rather get fillings without a can.
When Barry White died, I went into mourning like a Victorian widow.
Dude,
I wore all black. I went into mourning. I was like, "This is it."
I can only count on like a handful of times when I was really upset by a passing of a celebrity, and apart from Taylor Hawkins, Robin Williams, David Bowie.
Oh my God! Stop.
You said enough. Thank you.
You said enough. We're done.
So, Taylor Hawkins. Somebody, I saw somebody do a really cool tribute where, because in the lyrics of one of the Foo Fighters songs, like "Heaven is a big bang now," and like somebody wrote like "Heaven is a big bang now," like now that Taylor Hawkins is. And then the saddest thing too is that like he and Dave Grohl were like bros, and there's a lot of people out there who wonder if this might be the end of the band. Because he was like if like Dave Grohl was like the heart of the band, then like Taylor Hawkins was like not the brain, but maybe the other part of the heart,
the left ventricle.
And people say too, like, oh man, like losing Kurt Cobain and then now losing Taylor Hawkins, it's got to be. I don't know. I do know that Dave Grohl will go on and keep making music. It just may not be with the Foo Fighters. I don't know. I hope they go on, because for me, the Foo Fighters was always like kind of like a Phoenix story, because Foo Fighters rose out of the ashes of
Nirvana.
Yeah. So who knows? But yeah. So. The short version is Taylor Hawkins passed away, and I'm sad.
It is sad.
Especially because I just saw Studio 666, and they were just promoting that, seeing them do tours
it's so
like 2 weeks ago.
He was so young too. He was like 50.
Yeah, 50. And it's crazy. Like on our Apple TV, I have Studio 666 up for when it becomes available, and it's a picture of Taylor Hawkins, and it was just so weird that I was just looking at your face. Also, too, on a cool side note, there's a great song everybody should check out. I'll end it with this. The Foo Fighters did a cover of Pink Floyd's "Have a Cigar," and Taylor Hawkins is the lead singer. So you put it on the keyboard.
I'm sorry.
Taylor Hawkins, he sang this. He was the lead vocals for that, and they performed that song with Brian May, fucking Brian May of Queen. It's so good. You should check it out. And it was on, of all things, the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack.
Nice.
Doesn't mean it's any less devastating. It's a really cool cover. So, that being said, I'm Vengeance. Let's talk Batman.
Hi, Vengeance. I'm Dad.
Yeah, this movie has been hyped for so long. I remember the trailer that came out in August of 2020 at that DC.
Was that really when it came out?
Yeah.
Wow. Was it called DC? It
was like the DC FanCon or Fandom.
Fandom, yeah.
Yeah. That's when I first saw it. And I think that was, kind of part of my problem was that I had just been hearing about this movie for so long that I was kind of like when I first saw the trailer, I was pumped, and then it was like, you know, they would like make these advertisements, but there wasn't a release date. I was like, okay, when are we getting it? And we finally did this past March. I'm sure if you're listening, it's April by now. But I am excited to talk about the Batman because I didn't hate it. I feel like I didn't want that to come across that I hated it.
A lot of people thought we hated it.
Yeah.
We just had a lot of criticisms, but that's like...
I mean, I liked it.
We criticize everything.
Yeah.
I criticize everything. I'm sorry. You just kind of like are along for the ride.
I mean, listen, I was on board for Robert Pattinson being Batman since he was cast.
I liked Robert Pattinson as Batman.
He was great. He's a great Batman. I'm here for it. I'm excited to see
Pattinson, period.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see more of his Batman because I'm sure they're going to franchise this, right? I mean, so
They better.
Yeah. I did. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've said this before. Chandler, let's start with you. What were your major takeaways from Batman before we do a deep dive?
Really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was like a visual feast. I think they really kind of like in terms of production design really captured like the grittiness of Gotham in a way that kind of like the Dark Knight trilogy didn't really do. I think Dark Knight kind of had a more of like a not clean, but more like pristine and like, picturesque kind of like Gotham. And like,
yeah,
it was definitely more like, I guess like also like the lighting and stuff too. It was like a lot brighter, but yeah, this one was like definitely like, hellhole bedlam kind of like thing.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
there's trash on the streets, blowing in the wind,
yeah,
dirty, gross rain. Like it was really awesome to look at.
yeah. I agree with you there that in Matt Reeves' version of Batman, Gotham felt like a real place.
Yes.
Because in Batman Begins, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they hadn't worked out the look of Gotham, which is why it's so different in The Dark Knight. Because I just remember the Batman Begins being orange. Right? This is like it was just like an orange city, the orange lighting, everything was fucking orange. And then in the sequels, I think it got better, but it was clearly being filmed in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like you kind of recognized all the Chicago landmarks. But Gotham felt like a real city I had never been to before.
Yeah, it was like more
seen.
like on the ground in terms of like with like dealing with like the citizens of Gotham that the Dark Knight trilogy didn't really explore. So it was like all these like kind of like nooks and crannies of like the city. So.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get slivers of that in the Nolan trilogy, but yeah, I feel like you really kind of got to see what the living conditions were like if you weren't Bruce Wayne. So I did like that.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, no, I definitely enjoy like how visceral it was.
I felt like it was gritty without that being like the main aspect of the movie.
Like without being cringe.
Right.
Yeah, like how they like when and that's how I felt with like Zack Snyder stuff is like I felt like it was gritty just because it's like, oh, we're gonna be gritty, like that was like the whole focus of it, and I was just like, no, like I felt like this was just kind of like, yeah, that's like kind of like an element to it. It's like it is gritty, but I really liked because this takes place when he's like in his second year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's still pretty
Thank God,
new
by
to
the
it.
way. We didn't see his fucking parents get shot again.
Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't see the pearls in the alley. But I really liked kind of how angsty he was.
Yeah.
I kind of dug that. I was like, it made sense for like what it was, and he's like still trying to like figure it out, and I liked that.
He's so
It was
antisocial.
so fun to see.
As opposed
Yeah.
to like the billionaire playboy persona that he usually has.
Yeah.
That's why I liked this version of Alfred, because it didn't feel like he was his butler. He's like, I'm just fucking keeping the show together while you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. Like he wasn't the butler. Like he was running everything.
Yeah.
I
don't feel like he was utilized enough.
No. I agree. I wanted to see more of this Alfred, especially. I feel like the most interesting part of Alfred, which was borrowed from the Jeff Johns Batman, was when he tells Bruce, it was my job to protect your father that night. Like, I'm the reason why he's dead. And you're like, oh, where's more of that story?
Yeah.
Where's more of, like, because this Alfred too, he walks with a cane.
I feel like it was a bit of waste for Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. I just would have loved to see more of that
The paycheck,
story.
my dear boy.
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I also like Jeffrey Wright as Gordon.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I did like seeing that relationship of them kind of working together. And
Can we just take a moment to appreciate Zoe Kravitz?
Oh yeah, she ate that role. She was.
Oh my god.
I could not take my eyes off her. She looks amazing.
yeah.
I really want a movie with her and like freaking Harley and Poison Ivy.
Yeah, if we can get the Margaret Robbie, Harley,
yeah,
and that Catwoman,
dude, her and that Catwoman and shit, you could like literally cast a potato for the role of like Poison Ivy, and I would like take all my money. I want to see it. Just paint it green.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Put some lipstick on it, and I'd
that
be
would
like, hell yeah,
that would be incredible. I would love to see that.
I just
So
want
hot.
to see Zoe Kravitz and Margot Robbie together. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I need a Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
bad.
god. Yeah. Gotham City Sirens.
So bad.
I loved that comic too,
It was so fun.
and the art, like Gilliam March. It was like
was so
super.
fun.
I know a lot of people complain because it was like over the top,
Whatever.
but it's a comic book.
Yeah, it's a comic book. Whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. I gotta say too, Colin Farrell
Yes.
was probably, I think, one of my favorite parts of this movie. It was cool to see a penguin that wasn't a fucking mutant from the sewer. He wasn't like a Ninja Turtles villain. I did like that. I like that he was just like a gangster. Like he's like, hey, take it easy, there, sweetheart. Like I loved that. I loved that we
great.
got
It's
like
like,
a.
why are you showing me that? Like that was so good.
Yeah, he was like the comic relief of this movie.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he made me. I always laughed, well, not always, but when he was on screen, I just thought he was funny, and I love that he kind of had like the wobble, so he already like walks like a penguin.
I loved atmospherically. I'm kind of like changing topics a little bit, but we're still in the realm of the penguin and his nightclub, 40 Below or whatever, 30 Below, whatever it was called.
Iceberg Lounge.
Whatever. And I loved though how many scenes I got of like them walking with purpose through like the beat, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like dark, like walking with purpose, and it's like anybody who's been at a club knows that you are not going to get that clear shot.
No.
Like you're not going to get to do like a full on
You're gonna get
model
knocked
walk
around.
down.
Excuse me.
No,
I have
no. The
to-
way you got to do it is you got to dance through it.
Yep.
Like you got to
Yep.
just like move and dance through it, and like.
Yeah.
It's the only way to do it. You can't just like
She had
stop.
way too much clearance.
But it was still really hot to watch.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. No, it was good. I thought Zoe Kravitz was great. I thought it was, and I even liked at the end that she's like wearing like almost the exact outfit from Batman Year One with the short hair and like just kind of like the black top. And I don't know. I'm happy to see a black Catwoman. I'm always here for that. And I liked what they did with the Riddler in this. I like that he was, kind of a Zodiac, and I think, and that comparison makes sense when it comes to like, because I mean, the Riddler is about, leaving messages, having a big ego, you wanting to know that he did this. But I did like that, he had a mission, like it wasn't just being a kooky, crime guy just for the sake of it, that he was he in his mind, thinking he's doing a good thing by kind of exposing this truth, that the corruption.
I mean, he's doing a better job than Bruce Wayne.
Oh, I
realsies.
love that he thought that they were working together.
Yeah.
Because he's like, no, I wasn't targeting you. Like you were helping me. Like this was a part. This was like a silent partnership.
We're doing this
answering the call.
together. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's also
No.
kind of like Batman's ego at work too, where he's like he's so
Yeah.
self-important that he's
Right.
just, playing by his into the game.
My absolute favorite thing that this movie did, I mean, because we're still in the positives, I adored that by the end, like, spoiler, you actually see Batman helping people. Like, he doesn't just kind of show up, kick ass, and then leave for the city to clean up. Like, he's there for the cleanup. He is helping people. And, like, to see him on the ground level actually doing the work and not just, like, coming down from the ceiling, like, just doing cool karate chops and then just, like, vaulting out the window and, like, everyone be like, what was that? You know, it's, like, nice to see him actually helping people during a crisis.
Yeah.
And there's something very humbling about that. And I feel like that makes it... It grounds our heroes, and that's not something that DC has ever, I feel like, been able to do, is to ground our heroes into, you know, a realistic place. And the idea of him, like, you know, helping, like, get people on, like, rescue choppers.
Yeah, it's
and,
like a transition from, like, vigilante to bona fide hero.
Yeah, like doing the stuff that, like, a first responder would do, because that's where the real work is.
And I do like that that was what he learned. That was his journey, that maybe, like, vengeance isn't enough, that I have to, like, I have to inspire people. I have to give people hope. It can't all just be fear.
Yeah.
You know, and I love too, you know what I loved about that? Not only was he helping people, but the fucking sun was out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like at night. I thought it was cool that it was, you kind of saw him, I think, kind of finally, it was like Bruce Wayne or Batman, both, I think, kind of like embracing being vulnerable and, like, being exposed, and not just like a tough, you know, fighter. He was like, oh, I can be, you know, with the people and help the people.
He's doing the real work.
Yeah.
He's doing the real work. I mean, as awesome and cool and kick-ass as it is to just kind of, like, show up and, like, say some cool shit and, like, drop some crazy fucking moves and, like, drive away in a cool car.
Yeah.
Like, it's something else entirely to actually be like, oh, there are a ton of people who need help right now.
Yeah. It is
Let's do that. It's not glorious. It's not cool, and, like,
it's a great juxtaposition too, because I was just realizing, because it ends with him in the sun and helping people. In the beginning, it's night, it's pouring rain, and the dude he saves is fucking scared of him. Like, oh god, don't hurt me. You know, I thought that was kind of a cool bookend. And
I think, honestly, because of that aspect, that was the thing about the movie that I found really endearing, and I thoroughly enjoyed about it. Because there were some things about it that I was...
Listen, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like I try to stress that. Like, oh, you don't like Batman? Like, I didn't fucking say that. Jesus Christ.
I liked it. It just wasn't, like...
I think, you know what, there's a few things that I think went against it.
Editing?
That I was gonna say the
and
length.
the lack thereof.
I think, okay, so I've said this before on this show, that if I at any point in time become aware I'm watching a movie, that's like a big strike for me. Yeah. And that happened a couple of times,
dude.
Especially at one point when I thought the movie was over, and then it was like, oh, there's another 45.
No, they did a Lord of the Rings ending on that. There was like 12 endings, and I loved, like, I mean, it was kind of like delightful a little bit for me, with us like, oh, you totally could have cut this scene out. Oh nope, it's here, we're doing it. And there's like this epic sequence with him and the Penguin, with that, like, high-speed chase and, like, the crash and all that stuff.
That was awesome.
And there's him walking to, like, the car where the Penguin is, like, stuck in, and it's like the fire and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, that's, like, perfect, cut it there. But no, they have a shot of him, like, kind of coming in, like, upside down on the side, just, like, looking in. And I'm like, awkward. That was such an awkward and unnecessary sequence. And I was kind of, like, applauding them for that, because that was so pointless. But no, they had a lot of those. They had a lot of things that's like with him and Catwoman, like, they could have just said their goodbyes, but we got an additional, like, 5-minute sequence
them
of them
riding on their bikes,
on their
together,
motorcycles, and then they have to go in separate directions, and it's like, did he look back? Did she look back?
Oh, God.
It's like, we already said goodbye. Why do we have more of this going on? Come on now. Going through the cemetery. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
I didn't need that.
Yeah. It was just
Nobody
like,
needed that.
Cut. Cut. Jesus Christ.
Cut it out. We don't need any
Still
of it.
going.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Still
also,
going.
you know what's weird too? There are points of time in this movie where I really wanted them to commit to what they were selling, and they didn't follow through. Like, I fucking loved the notion of the Waynes potentially being pieces of shit.
Well,
like,
that's the thing, because rich people suck, and
Well,
like we know that.
I know
We know
right,
that now.
Yeah, but I think
Just make them shitty.
right. What I think would have been great though is like you could have had such a great emotional crisis for Bruce Wayne if his dad was a piece of shit and part of the problem. Well, what the fuck am I like? What am I avenging? You know,
Yeah.
like I think that would have been like, you know, like kind of like, no pun intended, but like the, you know, that long dark night of the soul. Be like, okay, well, what am I really doing? You know, like, you know, I can't trust this narrative that's been given to me, you know, and especially by the one person who was raising me,
Yeah.
you know, and then this cockamamie, well, no, there was this
didn't-
reporter, but he wanted Falcone just to, like, talk to him, not kill him.
He didn't
And
think
when
he
he
was gonna
found
kill
out
him and
that he killed him, he, like,
And
it was
it's
just
like,
like, dude, just fucking commit.
dude.
Like, we have so
Yeah.
many movies where the Waynes were upstanding citizens. Like,
But
I
they
think...
weren't. They weren't. Because Gotham is like crumbling and they're living in fucking Withering Heights. And like like it just doesn't, it's like, what? Like, how do you reconcile those things? And we as a culture and as a society are being like, oh, wait, that is bullshit.
I did
So they
love...
should have
rich.
just I
Yeah.
know, they should have just leaned into it. If you want to make, and that's why I think that him helping people on the ground level and not being kind of above them, like Batman has always been, and like Bruce Wayne has always been. It's like, I'm
Dude.
protecting the city because he's like above the city. He wants to be like a paternal figure for the city, and I feel like him actually at the end of this movie being in the muck, in the water, helping people. Not just like the mayor, not just that fucking kid, like,
Yeah.
but everybody.
Not
Like,
Also, that
favorites.
poor fucking kid.
That
He was
kid.
there for every fucking. He found his dad dead. The car crashing.
Yeah.
The funeral. Now he's in a fucking flash flood.
Yeah.
With like shooters. Like this poor kid.
I was like, this kid
Is he gonna grow up to be a Batman villain?
Hope not.
I don't know.
It's like every time something happens, the Batman's there.
No, they kind of gave each other knowing looks and nods and shit throughout the movie.
Yeah,
so
but
I
when that
guess
kid
it's
hits
cool.
puberty,
Oh, yeah.
and he needs a target,
Oh yeah. I
it's like,
hopefully it'll
they
just,
call me the Condiment King,
Oh God.
yeah.
Kite Man.
Hopefully he'll just like masturbate and cry in the shower like the rest of us.
I don't want to see that.
We don't have to see it. It's
I
just
know,
that's
but,
what
like,
you know. We
ugh.
all did in
No.
puberty. That's just what you did. 13. If you're not a witch, you're masturbating and crying in the shower.
Anyway, I did like
Guess I'm a witch.
yeah, jeez.
Or both.
Love you, Paul.
Again, I've lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
No, I did one of my favorite bits. One of my favorite scenes though was when Catwoman's like, "We just gotta stick it to all these like rich pricks," you know, like Falcone, like this guy, Bruce Wayne, and Batman's like, he's like that fucking that puppet gif of like the like the eyes moving around.
What
Like,
about Bruce Wayne?
yeah, you know, like all these rich fucks that are part of the problem. I loved that. Because that's
Yeah.
something that I think they try to address that in Dark Knight Rises, but I think, you know, what it means to kind of be part of the problem. I mean, like, yeah, you know.
I liked that they leaned in this film to him just kind of being a part of the problem and him like completely
His
shirking his apathy and shirking his responsibilities toward Wayne Corp because he thinks like, but because that's the thing, that's how these things work, you know, you put all your energy and attention into something that you think is like really positive and doing the work, but you're, you know, like any ideology, you're missing so many other perspectives. And I liked that they made him messy like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
There was just certain parts where I felt like I've seen this before.
Yeah.
You know, like especially with like, you know, like Master Wayne. You got to be careful because, you know, all of this and like, you know, he's like, I don't care what happens to me. Like, well, what about your family legacy? they're dead, Alfred. You're not my real dad. It's like
That was great. I
feel
did
like
get a
I've
"You're not my real dad" moment. That was kind of great.
He's
I was like, I feel
30.
yeah.
That was so good.
Like I feel like I've seen that before. And the scene where like, come with me. Like, you know, like I can't leave the city. Like the city doesn't deserve you. It's like, okay, I've seen this scene too. Like, you know what I mean? Some things kind of felt like rehashed. Like,
Well,
and
it wasn't
we've
Pearls
had
in the Alley, so
yeah, that's a big plus. I just think, and I think there's a problem of Batman fatigue. The amount of Batman films that we've had that were pretty clustered together with like Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson. It's like, you know, I get you can bank on Batman, but I would just love to try to get some other DC characters a feature length. You know what I mean?
yeah.
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 Because like again, I know Batman's easy, but like, you know, work on getting fucking Superman right.
Right.
Green Lantern, you know, I hope the Flash is good, but I kind of also feel like that the only reason why that movie's getting made is because fucking Batman's in it.
Yeah.
You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm very, very excited to see Michael Keaton because as far as I'm concerned, he is the one true Bat. Is it nostalgia talking? Yes.
Absolutely.
Do I give a shit?
Who gives a shit?
Absolutely not.
Who cares?
So, yeah, I don't know. I think also, too, I think when it comes to HBO Max, I'm very excited to watch it again because I know I'm going to see things that I didn't miss, or I'm going to see things that I missed. I'm going to be able to pause the button because there's nothing worse than having to hold your pee in
Yeah.
for that long of a movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like-
Which we did.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, riddle me this.
No.
What does like Lord of the Rings and Batman have in common? Like both have Andy Serkis, both were 3 hours long, and both had like 9 endings.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was working on that riddle too.
That's nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I did like the Batmobile. I liked that the Batmobile.
Oh, the Batmobile was great.
I loved that it was like just like
it was like the Mad Max car.
yeah.
It was
I
awesome.
liked that it was just like
I'm down with that.
that he. Yeah, I liked that it was just like it was like a brand new car. It was like he took a car and then like obsessively just pimped it out.
Like honestly,
The fucking
we're millennials,
flames.
We're easy. It's really easy to please us.
Yeah.
It's like let's just bring in the Mad Max car. And we're like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I just think that like I think the last half hour I was just feeling like, you know, with like then all the bombs are going off and now the city's flooding.
Dude,
It's like,
I thought it was over when they got Falcone. Or
Yeah.
Falcone.
Yeah, Falcone.
Falcone.
That was like
Either one.
that was a climax, right?
When they got the Riddler, I was like, oh, okay, they figured it out. And then it was like, oh, explosions and everything's flooding. I'm like, wait, what?
It's made me think of, you know, like Scary Movie when they were spoofing Screams, like, but wait, yes, what? That's what like it felt like, you know, just like oh, and now the city's flooding and everybody's stressed.
Although I'm gonna be honest, like first of all, I didn't know that Gotham was like a fishbowl. That was news to me.
It's
That doesn't
whoever's
seem-
writing it,
because
I guess.
like I'm like that seems way too easy to like destroy it if it's a fucking fishbowl. But whatever.
Somebody get Aquaman.
It was weird. I don't know.
I think, well, yeah, and then with like the Riddler shooters, I mean, like, I get it.
You know? Okay, sorry. I'm like, I have like a little tiny mini axe, and
She's got an
So
axe to
cute.
grind.
I got a point to make. I thought it was interesting, and I kind of wish that they spent so much time with like added sequences of him just like leaning in awkwardly in a scene or like them riding motorcycles into the sunset. But like, wouldn't it have been interesting that how the Riddler was able to radicalize so many people on the internet that all were white men.
Yeah.
I was totally
That-
thinking that as giving
Yeah,
school
and-
shooter.
And I was getting that vibe, and then I thought it was interesting how they wanted to stick it back to the system by coming after the first black female mayor. I thought that was very interesting, and I thought that was something that they could have like made
Really,
a comment on.
yeah.
But that's the thing, like that's the thing with Hollywood, and that's the thing with these stories. I don't know who was writing this shit, or who was producing it, or who like what exec was like, we're not ready for that. But I find it interesting that we are, as a society, are so terrified to having these conversations. Like we can discuss in a film, we can have a character whose mother was strangled to death by her own partner, and then that same partner was strangling their daughter or trying to strangle their daughter to death. We can have this like these references to sexual violence so casually, but we can't talk about racism. I just find that very interesting.
It is interesting.
You know what I also kind of like noticed, like even with like the all like basically all the power struggles happening is just all between white men, and like these like these Riddler like these Riddler followers are also like white men, and it's just like they're just trying to like fight the other white men to become the new more powerful white men, and it's just like it's just, who's really winning? Only minorities are losing.
I did think it was kind of funny that like there's like that one bit where like he like unlocks that video. And, he's, like, got his mask on. He's like, this is it. The moment has come. By the way, you guys, I just want to say I love this community. Like, you guys are always so supportive. Like, I really found my friends. You guys, like, it was just, like, I just thought that was funny. Like, the support, like, oh, my God, you guys.
Well, and it's like, they could have really had an opportunity, because they were trying to do a lot in this movie, and I applaud that they were making the effort.
I feel like you could have had like a Riddler trilogy.
They were making the effort, and I appreciate that. It was kind of like how I felt about Winter Soldier, Falcon Winter Soldier. I felt like they made the effort, and I appreciate that. But with the Batman, I think Chandler, you nailed it on the head. It was just white men, like trying to supplant each other, and like everybody else was just kind of like cast aside and hurt.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really great that you had a character like Selena Kyle, who initially was trying to do this big like grift on everybody to like steal a bunch of money, but at the end of the day, she wanted to take care of her friend.
Yep.
And then that meant more to her. That's like, what happened to my friend?
Yep.
And then she like, and then they kind of like dropped that plot line off. Like,
well, you bring up a good point though, because then you also have a black Commissioner Gordon, or sorry, he's not Commissioner, but you have a black Jim Gordon, who's like the only one actively trying to like keep the peace, and like doing it from like a genuinely, like kind of like, I don't want to say righteous, but like he's actually doing it with like good intentions. Like he's he's like the one cop that is on the take, like so yeah. Interesting. Speaking of white people, and how problematic they are, I was not a fan of the Joker. I wasn't a fan of that. Like,
that didn't need to be there.
Nope.
Like, it's just a little too convenient that like, oh, the Riddler and the Joker are side by side. It's like, and they're like, I can be your friend. Now let's maniacally laugh together. Like,
did you watch that deleted scene?
No, not yet. But I saw the screen cap with a really jacked up face.
I'm glad it was deleted.
I don't know if you saw, like, I had said that looks like CW budget, and then I photoshopped like a CW logo like on the bottom corner. Like, cause that's what it looked like. I'm like, I'm sorry, is this an episode of like Legends of Tomorrow? It just, I don't know. It just, I think I have
was so bad.
I think I have Joker fatigue too. I mean, with like Heath Ledger and like Joaquin Phoenix, and it's always like
Jared Leto.
Like, it always just seems like you have to have Joker in there, and it's like you don't. Batman is one of the rare heroes to have like an incredible rogues gallery. You know what I mean?
Fucking Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Reeves said he would love to do he would love to do a grounded Mr. Freeze story. So who knows? I mean, I would love to see a Mr. Freeze story. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things you could do in that setting and do it really well, and not. I don't know. Yeah, the joke's old. Is what I say. Like, yeah, I don't know. You've got so many villains you could touch on. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see where it goes, though. And we didn't get a chance to really talk about the music either. Dun 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 dun. I'm like, does this guy?
Oh, you mean the Darth Vader thing? But
yeah,
like
the Imperial
missing
March.
a couple cards. Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. The guy's just like slowed down.
It just slowed down. He like Vanilla Iced that. It's do 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 do. He did. Yeah.
Well, he was pushing down on me.
It was a lot. It was a lot. But I gotta say, I thought the cast was incredible.
Oh my God,
have
yeah.
no bad thing to say.
No,
about
the
anybody in
cast,
They're
cinematography.
beautiful.
I mean, it's a really well-made movie, and I love the amount of references that they make. Like, I love that bit of Batman's mask on the nose was a nod to the Adam West Batman, who had like that pattern on his nose mask.
I didn't know that.
Didn't
Yeah,
realize
like
that.
there's tons of, and you even got Venom in this. I mean, not the Marvel Venom, but when he injects himself and he gets the energy to fight, that was Venom. I had no idea. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I thought it was like, oh, that's I can't even think of the real name.
EpiPen.
Yeah, like adrenaline.
Like adrenaline.
No, it's Venom. So it's kind of cool to think you could get like a really cool Bane.
Yeah.
One that isn't like yes.
Oh, I'm also super late, but I also really like the backstory of Bruce's mom having mental illness, because there's like this theme, like I think like in the meta context of Batman, where like, is Batman as mentally ill as his villains, and it's like that could have been something. That's probably something they can explore in future installments.
I thought that was handled really well too, and I thought it was really cool.
That was also lifted from the Jeff Johns Earth One Batman. So if you like that and want to see more of it, read the Earth One Batman stuff, because that's actually really good. That I love that he's also part Arkham. That like and the whole bit about like, what was it, like his grandmother killing the grandfather then killing herself, that's straight out of the Jeff Johns story.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the whole bit with like Thomas Wayne running for mayor, that's all from Jeff Johns, and that was one that was kind of cool to see too. You could see like the inspiration, like you could see, okay, here's some Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb, and you could see some of the Scott Snyder Batman, like the contacts, like that's totally lifted from the Scott Snyder Court of Owls. Oh, Court of Owls could be cool in that setting. See, that would be great. Do a villain that we have never seen before in a live action setting. Court of Owls could be dope.
That would be
as a
dope
fucking
as
movie.
hell. That would be dope as hell.
Yeah, Court of
Just a bunch
Owls.
of rich white people being crazy, eyes wide shut.
I mean,
level
they're
shit.
already going down. Listen, they're already going down that road anyway.
Yep.
Let's just go pedal to the
They're
metal.
already there, man.
Don't want to go down that road. It's a Pet Cemetery reference.
Yeah, everybody hates rich white people right now. Let's just fucking go it.
Lean
That's
into
why
it.
I'm not rich, because I'm like, no, I don't need that kind of hate in my life.
I don't know if people eating me later.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, if you liked this, definitely check out the Scott Snyder Batman and Jeff Johns run of Batman.
All right, is this the part where we talk about things that we're into right now?
I would say something now's a good time to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna go first.
You're very excited.
I am. You guys. Our Flag Means Death is an incredible
So
show. And if you're not watching it, you need to get on that, girl.
Where can I find it?
HBO?
Max.
Okay.
It's a Taika Waititi series.
Oh man, that is a busy girl.
Yeah, and it's so good. It's so funny. It's just freaking delightful.
Also, Rise Darby as the Gentleman Pirate.
Oh my god.
If you...
No spoilers. No spoilers.
I wasn't...
Okay. No, you could say it. I'm just saying, don't give away the biggest spoiler.
I was just gonna say, Rise Darby from Flight of the Conchords. He was Murray the manager.
Yeah.
And he was my favorite part of that show. and I always thought we didn't get enough of Rise Darby. Well, thank God for Our Flag Means Death, because we get plenty of Rise Darby, and he's delightful and hilarious.
Oh my god, the whole cast is.
What's like the
whole
basic
cast
synopsis?
is. So you basically get this guy, and he's based off a real person.
Yeah, this is
who was like a landowner in Barbados, and he basically was like, I don't want. He had like a lot of money, and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore, and so he like abandoned his wife and children and became a pirate. Or tried to become a pirate, and he's like, I'm going to be the gentleman pirate, and he had like no concept of how any of this stuff really works.
No context.
But he's
very dainty.
He's very dainty, but he ends up becoming friends with the Blackbeard, and it's like so good. Like it's so good because if you Wikipedia it, it's like they actually hung out, and it's like, wait, what?
It's funny too because it's almost like, and not a spoiler, but like they like learn from each other. Like, the gentleman pirate kind of learns more about pirating and being like gruff and a fighter, and like Blackbeard learns more about what it means to be in like civilized company. Like he's
it's so cool, and like the supporting cast is a riot. It's hysterical.
Hodor's in it, and he gets lines,
and he's great. Like, oh my god, there's so many amazing talent in this show. Like, you have to see it.
It's so good. Like, it's really good.
It's so
Fred
good.
Fred Armiston is in it.
Oh my god, yeah, friggin' Leslie Jones. It's fantastic. If you like Taika Waititi, you're gonna love this show, and you need to watch it because I need a second season.
Yeah, we should do an episode.
We should.
On Our Flag Means Death, because
I love that.
Yeah, because it's so good. Chandler, or so were you done? Something else you wanted to add?
If I remember, I'll probably interrupt somebody to say it.
Yeah. Chandler, how about you? Anything you're watching, reading?
Yeah, I started Ted Lasso. I know. I love it so much.
Isn't it?
How far are you?
Like 3 episodes in.
Still, I mean that's enough.
Yeah.
Love that.
If you love the show, it's just that was so helpful during lockdown.
Yeah.
Like that was. Yeah, it's so funny. I had no intention of watching that show. I'm like, a sports show? Pass.
We loved it.
Yeah.
We were all into the end, like the freaking...
The first episode, we were hooked.
The game itself, we were just like, oh my god, like, why do we care? Like, we never cared about sports, ever.
So good. We got Angela's parents hooked on Ted Lasso.
Nice.
Ted Lasso's great.
I'm glad you're loving it.
Yeah. I also been watching Versailles on Netflix, which is...
Oh.
Yeah. My mom watches it. She was like, you should watch it too. I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. Support
Should you?
Yeah,
it's cute. You need something to talk about.
Yeah, it's okay.
Let's give them something to talk about.
There's some royal racism in the first 3 episodes, but...
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's for historic accuracy's sake.
Girl.
Yeah.
You need to check out The Gilded Age, also on HBO Max.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
If you want a good period piece with like nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
But they have one of the things that I like about The Gilded Age, it's written by the same guy who did
Downton Abbey, Julian Fellows.
Ooh.
And they have an actual black character to actually showcase what life was like for black people in that era. But it's great because she's not like this like poor destitute black person.
A successful.
Her family is like really well off, like, but everybody just kind of underestimates her. And there's this really great like Becky moment, and it's
that was the one I saw, right?
Yeah,
that
it
was good.
So embarrassing, but we laughed so hard because she was so stupid.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But this white girl tries going over to her house to like, she's like, oh, I'm gonna surprise her with like these shoes for her family, and she goes and it's like a 3-story Brookstone, and like they have like a maid, and she's like, oh, they're like, what do you have there? And she's like, nothing.
Feed the children.
Just some
like boots.
They're like, why would we want your
Used
cast off
boots.
shoes? And she's like,
I don't know.
well, first of all, they're like, why are you coming to our house unannounced? That's weird. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out.
Sweet. Thank you.
What else are you watching?
That was it.
Oh.
Are you reading anything good? Anything comic wise?
I'm actually catching up on the X-Men stuff. Did
you get to the part about Cyclops?
No, I'm not there yet. I'm still like pre Hellfire Gala, So I'm like catching up on Marauders Volume 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were reading the current X-Men stuff.
Oh, I haven't read the Dugan stuff yet. No.
Oh, okay. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good. I'm excited to talk to you about it because I need somebody to talk to about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope.
Stop asking me, please.
I read Hellions, which is really freaking awesome. I'm so upset it's canceled, but that book is damn funny.
I think it had a rough start. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the Hellions being that great in the beginning, but I liked it as it picked up steam, and I wonder if it just the momentum just didn't. Maybe it came too late. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's probably too niche. There's like too many other books going on, so they didn't get enough
Marauders
attention.
though.
Yeah, that's good too. Mm-hmm.
Marauders is real good. Yeah, I continuing my journey through retro comic book reading. I'm taking a break from X-Men because I've read all of Uncanny X-Men, so I'm kind of like current at this point. Mm-hmm. So I went back and started reading Spider-Man and Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, and taking a break from that. And I'm reading old school Stan Lee Captain America, and
Back to the source.
It's great. It's campy as all hell, and I love it. What was the episode I was reading last night? The Man Brute. Remember I was showing you that? The Man Brute?
Yeah, the Man Brute.
Yeah, it's funny. He's like, I need to make my own super soldier serum, but instead of giving it to a weak guy, I give it to a strong guy, but give it to an asshole. And then out of the blue, this guy walking down the street kicks a can. He's like, "This world sucks." And he's like, "Oh, could this be the gentleman I'm looking for?" And then he like gives him like a serum, and he gets big. He's like, "Oh, here's what we'll do. I'm going to go to the Avengers compound and tell them that we would like Captain America to perform at an orphanage." And Cap's like, "Oh, great, I love to see the kids. I love Captain America." Cap shows up at this fucking orphanage. His orphanage. And so does the Man Brute. And, this fight breaks out, and everyone's like, "Oh, golly, geez, they couldn't have rehearsed this." And the kids are like, "I don't think this is fake." And so one kid's like, "We gotta help Cap." And so Cap's like, "Get away, you'll get hurt, youngster." And the Man Brute looks at this kid, stops, and he's like, "I'm out." And he leaves, and you're like, "What's going on?" And then so Man Brute goes back to the weird scientist guy. He was like, "I saw my son at the orphanage, and I can't let him see me like this."
Oh my god! What a twist!
He was my son, and and then the Man Brute runs off, and so Cap tries to go find him. And he walks past him because the Man Brute's not in his shitty fucking spandex costume. But yeah, I just love shit like that. My son.
I was not expecting that.
That's great.
Oh yeah, and that's the cool thing about some of these issues. That it's not like a really long arc. It's like a one issue. But prior to that, there was one Captain America arc I was actually really glued to because I didn't know how it was going to end. Red Skull shows up with the Cosmic Cube, and he makes Captain America look like Red Skull. So everyone's like, "No, it's me, it's Steve Rogers." This fucking Red Skull being an asshole, and Red Skull is making him transport to other parts of the world, and Cap has no control over this. So, he's, he's just getting warped all over the place, and at one point, he decides to drop Cap on this island where all of the Red Skull's cronies are there. I guess Red Skull left them to die on this island. He's like, "Oh, great. They'll kill Cap thinking I'm me because they hate me, and this is the grand old plan." All my bad guys sound like that, by the way. Okay. And so he drops Cap there, and who does he meet but the Falcon?
Oh.
It's Falcon's first appearance.
Wow.
He can't fly. And, Yeah, so but Cap trains Falcon to fight, and it's just it's great. It was I was just really excited about because I didn't know how it was going to end, and it was great and fantastic. And MODOK's in it, AIM is, and apparently AIM made the Cosmic Cube. It's just a lot of fun. It was a really fun read. I know, cool story, bro. Anywho, thank you as always, all of yous, for listening. Don't forget to give us some love on iTunes. We could use it. Give us a shout out. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Love to hear thoughts, comments, and suggestions. And as always, have fun exploring the multiverse.
Yes, take care of yourselves.
For real.
Take care of yourselves.
And keep your hands to yourself.
You know, if you have seriously, keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands on yourself. Keep your hands all over yourself. Ooh. Have a good time with yourself. Okay, bye.